I've earned 30 plus certifications, and I'm here to guide you to success on your exam. Welcome to the Ultimate MS-700 Exam Masterclass. Are you ready to crack the MS-700 exam in one go? You're in the right place. In this session, we'll arm you with powerful insights and hand-picked questions that can make all the difference in your exam performance. We've scanned the web using intelligent crawlers to gather the most critical and high-impact questions, all compiled into one powerful PDF resource. You can download it from the link in the description. Not only will we explore these must-practice questions, but we'll also share real exam experiences and pro tips to give you that competitive edge. Let's dive into the key questions that could shape your success. Question 1. You work as a systems administrator for your company. The company has recently purchased a subscription to Microsoft 365. All users in your company have a Microsoft 365 E3 license. You are in the process of configuring Microsoft Teams. You enable guest access in Microsoft Teams to allow users in your company to collaborate with external users. A company's security policy states that guest users should not be able to use their cameras during Microsoft Teams meetings. Company users should be able to use their cameras during Microsoft Teams meetings. You need to configure Microsoft Teams to meet this security requirement. Which of the following actions should you perform in the Microsoft Teams Admin Center? A. Configure the external access settings in org-wide settings. B. Configure the Teams settings in org-wide settings. C. Configure the guest access settings in org-wide settings. D. Configure the audio and video settings in the default meeting policy. Correct answer, C. Configure the guest access settings in org-wide settings. Explanation. Guest access settings control permissions for external guests. You can block camera use for guests while keeping it enabled for employees. Question 2. You work as a Microsoft 365 administrator for your company. All users have Microsoft 365 licenses. Users frequently collaborate by using private chats in Microsoft Teams. You need to ensure that a single user is unable to permanently delete private chats. Which of the following should you configure? A. The user's Microsoft 365 license options in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. B. A meeting policy in Microsoft Teams. C. A litigation hold on the user's mailbox. D. A sensitivity label in the Security and Compliance Admin Center. Correct answer, C. A litigation hold on the user's mailbox. Explanation. Litigation hold preserves Teams chats and messages. It prevents permanent deletion for compliance and retention. Question 3. You work as a systems administrator for your company. The company has departments named Sales, Accounts, Research, and Production. The company has recently purchased a subscription to Microsoft 365. All users in your company have a Microsoft 365 E3 license. You are in the process of configuring Microsoft Teams. You plan to create a team for each of the company departments. All users have the Microsoft Teams desktop client installed. You need to ensure that the research team is labeled as confidential when viewed in the Microsoft Teams client. Which of the following actions should you perform? A. Configure and publish a sensitivity label in the Security and Compliance Admin Center. B. Configure and publish a retention label in the Security and Compliance Admin Center. C. Configure a Teams policy in the Microsoft Teams Admin Center. D. Configure the meeting settings in the Microsoft Teams Admin Center. Correct answer A. Configure and publish a sensitivity label in the Security and Compliance Admin Center. Explanation. Sensitivity labels classify and protect content in Teams. Applying a confidential label ensures visibility and compliance. Question 4. You work as a systems administrator for your company. The company has departments named Sales, Accounts, Research, and Production. The company has a subscription to Microsoft 365. All users in your company have a Microsoft 365 E5 license. You have configured a team for each of the departments. Currently, users in any department can use Microsoft Teams to communicate with users from any other department. You need to configure the environment to ensure that users in the research team can only communicate with other users in the research team by using Microsoft Teams. What should you do? A. Configure a Teams meeting policy. B. Configure information barrier policies. C. Configure an app protection policy. D. Configure conference bridges. Correct answer B. Configure information barrier policies. Explanation. Information barriers restrict communication between groups. This ensures research members only communicate within their own team. Question 5. You work as a systems administrator for your company. The company has several departments. The company has a subscription to Microsoft 365. All users in your company have a Microsoft 365 E5 license. You have configured a team for each of the departments. You need to ensure that you are notified if a user creates a new team by using the Create a Team option in the Microsoft Teams client. Which of the following actions should you perform? A. Configure the external collaboration settings in the Azure Active Directory Admin Center. B. Configure a supervision policy in the Security and Compliance Admin Center. C. Configure an e-discovery case in the Security and Compliance Admin Center. D. Configure an alert policy in the Security and Compliance Admin Center. Correct answer D. Configure an alert policy in the Security and Compliance Admin Center. Explanation. Alert policies notify admins when specific actions occur. Creating one for team creation provides visibility of new teams. Question 6. You work as a systems administrator for your company. The company has a subscription to Microsoft 365. All users in your company have a Microsoft 365 E5 license. A user named User1 has the Microsoft Teams desktop client on his Windows 10 client computer. User1 reports several problems when using Microsoft Teams. You need to view the debug logs on User1's computer. Which of the following actions should you perform to generate the debug logs? A. Press the following key combination, Ctrl+Alt+Shift+1. B. Right-click on the Teams icon and select Get Logs. C. Use Windows Event Viewer and browse to the application log. D. Run a usage report in the Teams Admin Center. Correct answer A. Press the following key combination, Ctrl+Alt+Shift+1. Explanation. Ctrl+Alt+Shift+1 is the shortcut to generate Teams logs. These logs help troubleshoot client issues. Question 7. Your company has a subscription to Microsoft 365. All users in your company have a Microsoft 365 E5 license. All users use Microsoft Teams for collaboration. A manager wants to be able to view the Microsoft Teams usage reports. You need to assign the manager permission to view the usage reports. The solution must use the principle of least privilege. Which of the following actions should you perform? A. Assign the team's communications administrator role to the manager. B. Assign the security administrator role to the manager. C. Assign the reports reader role to the manager. D. Assign the compliance manager role to the manager. Correct answer, C. Assign the reports reader role to the manager. Explanation. Reports reader allows viewing usage reports only. It follows the principle of least privilege for monitoring Teams usage. Question 8. You work as a systems administrator for your company. The company has a subscription to Microsoft 365. All users in your company have a Microsoft 365 E5 license. All users in the company use Microsoft Teams for collaboration. Users report that a team has been deleted in Microsoft Teams. The team was available yesterday. You need to restore the deleted team. Which tool should you use? A. The Microsoft Teams Admin Center. B. The Microsoft Teams Client App. C. The Azure Active Directory Admin Center. D. The Exchange Online Admin Center. Correct answer, C. The Azure Active Directory Admin Center. Explanation. Teams are backed by Microsoft 365 groups and Azure AD. Restoring the deleted group also restores the deleted team. Question 9. You work as a Microsoft 365 administrator for your company. The company has a subscription to Microsoft 365. All users in your company have a Microsoft 365 E5 license. All users in the company use Microsoft Teams for collaboration. You need to configure a policy that prevents users from sending GIFs in Microsoft Teams chats. Which of the following should you configure? A. Messaging policy in the Teams Admin Center. B. Retention policy in the Security and Compliance Admin Center. C. Information barrier policy in the Teams Admin Center. D. Sensitivity label in the Security and Compliance Admin Center. Correct answer A. Messaging policy in the Teams Admin Center. Explanation. Messaging policies manage chat behaviors such as GIFs, memes, and stickers. Disabling GIFs requires editing the messaging policy. Question 10. You work as a systems administrator for your company. The company has a subscription to Microsoft 365. All users in your company have a Microsoft 365 E5 license. All users in the company use Microsoft Teams. You need to prevent users from scheduling private meetings in Microsoft Teams. Which of the following should you configure? A. Retention labels in the Security and Compliance Admin Center. B. Meeting policies in the Teams Admin Center. C. Guest access settings in Teams. D. Sensitivity labels in the Security and Compliance Admin Center. Correct answer B. Meeting policies in the Teams Admin Center. Explanation. Meeting policies allow or block scheduling of private meetings. Adjusting the policy prevents users from creating them. Question 11. Your company has a subscription to Microsoft 365. All users in your company have a Microsoft 365 E5 license. You need to ensure that when users create teams in Microsoft Teams, they must select a classification such as confidential or general. Which of the following should you configure? A. Meeting policies. B. Retention labels. C. Sensitivity labels. D. Azure AD group settings. Correct answer, C. Sensitivity labels. Explanation. Sensitivity labels enforce classification on Teams creation. This ensures users select a category like confidential or general. Question 12. You work as a Microsoft 365 administrator. All users in your company use Microsoft Teams for collaboration. You discover that some users are communicating with Skype consumer users from Teams. Management wants to block communication with Skype consumer users but still allow Teams-to-Teams communication. Which settings should you configure? A. Messaging policies. B. External access settings. C. Guest access settings. D. Meeting policies. Correct answer B. External access settings. Explanation. External access controls communication with outside domains. Disabling Skype consumer access blocks it but keeps Teams communication. Question 13. Your company has a Microsoft 365 E5 subscription. You are configuring Microsoft Teams. You need to prevent users from uploading and sharing files in private one-to-one chats. Which settings should you configure? A. Messaging policies. B. Meeting policies. C. Sensitivity labels. D. Team settings and org-wide settings. Correct answer A. Messaging policies. Explanation. Messaging policies control file sharing in chats. Disabling file sharing blocks uploads in private chats. Question 14. You work as an administrator for your company. All users have Microsoft 365 E5 licenses. Users report that when they try to join Teams meetings, they are prompted to wait in the lobby. You need to ensure company users bypass the lobby automatically, while guests must wait. What should you configure? A. Meeting policies. B. Messaging policies. C. Guest access settings. D. Sensitivity labels. Correct answer A. Meeting policies. Explanation. Meeting policies manage lobby bypass settings. You can allow company users to join directly while guests wait. Question 15. Your company has a subscription to Microsoft 365. All users in your company have Microsoft 365 E5 licenses. You need to identify Teams usage trends such as active users and messages sent. Which admin center should you use? A. Teams Admin Center. B. Security and Compliance Admin Center. C. Exchange Admin Center. D. SharePoint Admin Center. Correct answer A. Teams Admin Center. Explanation. The Teams Admin Center provides usage reports and analytics. It shows active users, devices, and messaging trends. Question 16. You work as a Microsoft 365 administrator. Your company uses Microsoft Teams for collaboration. You need to ensure that chat messages sent in Teams are retained for 7 years for compliance purposes. Which should you configure? A. Sensitivity labels. B. Retention policies. C. Messaging policies. D. Guest access settings. Correct answer B. Retention policies. Explanation. Retention policies ensure data is kept for a specific period. Configuring one keeps Teams chats for 7 years. Question 17. Your company has a Microsoft 365 subscription. All users have E5 licenses. You need to prevent external users from sharing files in Teams channels. Which should you configure? A. Guest access settings. B. Sensitivity labels. C. Information barriers. D. External access settings. Correct answer A. Guest access settings. Explanation. Guest access settings control what external guests can do. You can block file sharing for guest users specifically. Question 18. You work as a systems administrator. All users use Microsoft Teams. You need to prevent users from installing third-party apps within Teams. Which should you configure? A. Messaging policies. B. App permission policies. C. Meeting policies. D. External access settings. Correct answer B. App permission policies. Explanation. App permission policies control which apps users can install. Blocking third-party apps enforces company security standards. Question 19. Your company has a subscription to Microsoft 365. Users are collaborating with external partners using guest access in Teams. You need to ensure that guest accounts are automatically removed after 60 days of inactivity. Which should you configure? A. Teams policies. B. Azure AD access reviews. C. Retention labels. D. Sensitivity labels. Correct answer B. Azure AD Access Reviews. Explanation. Azure AD Access Reviews manage guest account lifecycle. They can remove inactive guest users automatically after set periods. Question 20. You work as a Microsoft 365 administrator. Your company requires that all Teams meeting recordings are automatically stored in OneDrive or SharePoint. Which settings should you configure? A. Meeting policies. B. Messaging policies. C. Sensitivity labels. D. Retention labels. Correct answer A. Meeting policies. Explanation. Meeting policies control recording behavior. They can enforce storage of recordings in OneDrive or SharePoint. Question 21. You work as an administrator. All users have Microsoft 365 E5 licenses. You need to prevent users from editing sent messages in Microsoft Teams. Which should you configure? A. Messaging policies. B. Meeting policies. C. Guest access settings. D. External access settings. Correct answer A. Messaging policies. Explanation. Messaging policies allow or block message editing. Disabling editing prevents users from changing sent messages. Question 22. Your company has a Microsoft 365 subscription. You need to block users from communicating with specific domains in Teams. Which should you configure? A. External access settings. B. Guest access settings. C. Messaging policies. D. Information barriers. Correct answer A. External access settings. Explanation. External access settings control domain communication. You can allow or block specific external domains. Question 23. You work as a Microsoft 365 administrator. All users have Teams installed. You need to ensure that Teams automatically launches when users sign into Windows. Which should you configure? A. Teams client settings in the Microsoft 365 Apps Admin Center. B. Messaging policies. C. Meeting policies. D. External access settings. Correct answer A. Teams client settings in the Microsoft 365 Apps Admin Center. Explanation. Teams client settings manage startup behavior. Enabling auto-start launches Teams when users log into Windows. Question 24. Your company uses Teams for collaboration. You need to prevent users from sending voice messages in Teams mobile app. Which should you configure? A. Messaging policies. B. Meeting policies. C. Guest access settings. D. App setup policies. Correct answer A. Messaging policies. Explanation. Messaging policies control chat features such as voice messages. Disabling it prevents voice messages in the mobile app. Question 25. You work as a systems administrator. Users report they cannot search for messages in Teams. You discover that Teams chat messages are not being indexed. Which service is responsible for indexing Teams messages? A. Microsoft Search. B. Exchange Online. C. SharePoint Online. D. OneDrive for Business. Correct answer B. Exchange Online. Explanation. Teams chats are stored in Exchange Online mailboxes. Exchange provides indexing and e-discovery capabilities for searches. Question 26. Your company has a Microsoft 365 subscription. You need to restrict Teams usage on unmanaged devices while still allowing web access. Which should you configure? A. Conditional access policies in Azure AD. B. Sensitivity labels. C. Information barriers. D. Messaging policies. Correct answer A. Conditional access policies in Azure AD. Explanation. Conditional access enforces restrictions on unmanaged devices. It allows browser access while blocking risky actions like downloads. Question 27. You work as a Microsoft 365 administrator. Your company requires that meeting transcripts are automatically generated. Which settings should you configure? A. Meeting policies. B. Messaging policies. C. Guest access settings. D. Sensitivity labels. Correct answer A. Meeting policies. Explanation. Meeting policies manage recording and transcription. Enabling transcription ensures transcripts are generated automatically. Question 28. You work as a systems administrator. You need to block all anonymous users from joining Teams meetings. Which should you configure? A. Meeting policies. B. Guest access settings. C. Messaging policies. D. External access settings. Correct answer A. Meeting policies. Explanation. Meeting policies control anonymous user participation. Blocking anonymous users ensures only authenticated users join. Question 29. You work as a Microsoft 365 administrator. Management requires that all Teams messages containing financial data are detected and flagged. Which should you configure? A. Data loss prevention (DLP) policies. B. Retention policies. C. Messaging policies. D. Information barriers. Correct answer A. Data loss prevention (DLP) policies. Explanation. DLP policies detect and protect sensitive data. They can flag or block Teams messages containing financial information. Question 30. Your company uses Microsoft Teams. You need to ensure that when employees leave the company, their Teams chats are still searchable for compliance. Which should you configure? A. Litigation hold. B. Messaging policies. C. Meeting policies. D. App permission policies. Correct answer A. Litigation hold. Explanation. Litigation hold preserves chat data even after an employee leaves. This ensures compliance and searchability for investigations. Please revise full PDF 2 to 3 times for 100% success. Check the description for the PDF download link and don't forget to subscribe to this channel for upcoming episodes. Thank you.